Wonderful welcome and good evening. This is UBC News Tonight. It is the 23rd day of October 2021. Now, before getting to this bulletin, let's first take a look at tonight's headlines. All right, now in tonight's headlines, President Museveni commissions airport health facilities. President Museveni flags off 282 vehicles for the COVID-19 campaign, and former presidential secretary buried at Rugarama Hill in Kabale municipality. And then Rajiv Ruparelia wins as NRC title chase goes to decider in Ginger next month. A very good evening once again and welcome to UBC News Tonight on this 23rd day of October 2021. I'm Loreen Masika Kazimoto. Now, President Yoweri Museveni has directed the Ministry of Health to immediately start conducting COVID-19 mandatory tests at Entebbe International Airport. Now, this was shortly after he commissioned a newly built airport health facility. Take a look.
President Yoweri Museveni has handed over 282 cars to district chief administrative officers purchased using public donations for fighting COVID-19 pandemic. The vehicles were bought at US$ 22,000 each. The fund, which is chaired by Mr. Emmanuel Katongole, received a total contribution valued at Uganda shillings 69.2 billion. And from this figure, 34.2 billion was received in form of goods in kind.
You guided us that this money should be deployed to areas that are not consumables, to areas that Ugandans can see at least for some time. And the Minister of Health suggested that there is big problem when it comes to local government in reaching out to the patients.
President Museveni commended the COVID-19 National Response Fund for having worked for free. He reiterated that the donations were strictly for corona district surveillance, reminding health officials to use the cars in a good way.
Fight the culture of tendering through middlemen. Don't buy through middlemen. Because now you can see that my approach, if we had taken the other approach of buying from the traders, would have bought 140 vehicles only. Because it is $50,000. This one is less than a half. But now we bought 282 vehicles. So that culture. So when we were debating what to do with the money, some of the people were talking of vaccines. I said vaccines. How would the Ugandans see the vaccine? If you have vaccine in government, let the government be the one to buy the vaccines. But the money of the Ugandans, let it go to things which they can see.
Referring to the national budget, the president noted that Uganda has allocated 45 trillion to cover its expenses, of which 15 trillion covers debts out of the 30 trillion actual budget. He paid tribute to Prime Minister Robinah Nabbanja, Prime Minister Emeritus Dr. Ruhakana Rugunda, the Minister for Health Dr. Jane Ruth Acheng, and Minister of State for Health Margaret Muhanga for the job well done.
Currently, we have 207 patients admitted in health facilities countrywide, and the positivity rate has dropped from 21% to 2% as of today. The dominant variant that is circulating in the country is the Delta variant. The daily average number of confirmed cases over the last 2 weeks has stabilized at 78 cases countrywide, from an average of 1,445 cases at the peak of the second wave in June. Similarly, the daily average number of deaths has declined to between 2 to 5, compared to 57 deaths at the height of the second wave.
Now, those right there were events that happened at the Kololo Independence Ground, where the President handed over 282 double cabin pickups to chief administrative officers under the COVID-19 Response Fund. Now, misunderstandings have emerged between religious leaders and the administration of two schools that were recently commissioned by the President in Kumi district. Kivengyere and Kivengyere Memorial Secondary Schools misunderstandings came into play when church leaders started claiming for the ownership of the land titles of the schools. Now, the schools were commissioned by President Yoweri Museveni in January this year.
Kivengyere and Kivengyere Memorial Secondary Schools in Kumi district were built with support from President Yoweri Museveni as a memorial of those that lost their lives during the Teso insurgency. However, religious leaders are now claiming the ownership of these two schools, saying that government is intending to grab church land where these schools are located.
Of late, the church was resisting a bit. They were fearing maybe the government is going to take over the land from them.
My dear Bishop, Echuru Oliach of Soroti Catholic Diocese personally visited me in the office and declared that where the school is standing on church land. I wrote to the Minister of Education, Honorable Janet Kataha Museveni, about the operationalization of OGA and Kabwele Senior Secondary Schools, of which the Minister guided me to see the Commissioner, Secondary Education, who assured me that the two schools' expenditure would be accommodated in the budget of 2021-2022. But because of the non-accomplishment of the task of obtaining the land titles, we can now not talk about it.
The Minister of State for Teso Affairs, Dr. Kenneth Ongaro Obote, who is on his familiarization tour of Teso, advised both parties to sit down and iron out their issues if they want their schools to benefit from government programs.
It is easier for the government to implement programs in schools where there are no conflicts. So we want to sort out that conflict as soon as possible, so that we can continue with other programs which that school is still supposed to benefit from. I think it will be done, it will be sorted out. After all, it's just within the community. It's a matter of them sitting down and talking about it, and I know they will sort it out.
Meanwhile, the families that lost their relatives during the insurgency in Kumi district and the survivors have reminded government to fulfill other pending pledges that include 20 heads of cattle, 30 iron sheets, 30 bags of cement and additional 5 million shillings per family that was affected by the insurgency.
Our concerns that we're raising the minister were, number one, when will the 18 survivors get iron sheets? And then secondly, when will the 29 families get money meant for cement? That's 1 million shillings per family. And thirdly, the time frame for giving the 20 heads of cattle is unclear. So I wanted that at least stated so that you can follow up something that is whose time frame you know.
Dr. Kenneth Ongaro Obote assures residents that government is willing to fulfill all pending presidential pledges process by process.
I want to assure you that I am going to sort out all these pledges that I have made again today. I have renewed them before you, and I'm going to sort them out. There is no problem there. We will only want to verify who has already received. I had issues of names being smuggled into the list. Those are the only things I want to verify.
Okowu Joseph, UBC News.
Now, former Presidential Secretary Hope Kishande Kivengyere has been laid to rest in Rugarama Kabale municipality. Born to Bishop Festo and Canon Merab Kivengyere on the 19th of August 1949, Hope died on Wednesday at Nakasero Hospital where she had been admitted. Former Premier Dr. Ruhakana Rugunda represented President Yoweri Museveni at the burial. We have the details. Former Presidential Press Secretary Hope Kivengyere has been laid to rest at Rugarama Hill in Kabale municipality. She was described as a patriotic citizen and a Pan-Africanist who served her country with great passion. President Yoweri Museveni was represented by the former Prime Minister and Presidential Envoy on special duties, Dr. Ruhakana Rugunda. In his message, Museveni hailed the deceased for her great professionalism that saw the state and media relations improve during her time.
She managed to woo the foreign media and she dedicated herself to building bridges for a better future. She devoted the prime years of her life to the service of Uganda through her extraordinary career. She worked tirelessly to serve our country in the finest traditions of the civil service.
Security Minister Major General Jim Muhwezi revealed that he owes his life to the deceased's loyalty. Muhwezi, a bush war hero, said Kivengyere sheltered him at great personal risk to herself during the 5-year war that brought them to power in 1986. In summon, the Diocese of Kigezi, Bishop Right Reverend Engineer George Bagamuhunda urged mourners to utilize their earthly life carefully so as to leave long-lasting legacies. Kivengyere started as a teacher before joining the National Resistance Army NRM struggle in 1981. After the war, she worked as the President's press secretary for 16 years before moving on to writing his speeches for 4 years. She then left the government for the African Mission in Sudan. Her next stop was Somalia, with the African Union Mission in Somalia for 5 years. Now we head back to our first story of the evening. President Yoweri Museveni has directed the Ministry of Health to immediately start conducting COVID-19 mandatory tests at Entebbe International Airport. This was shortly after he commissioned a newly built airport health facility.
Uganda People's Defence Forces UPDF Construction Brigade has built a health facility that is expected to ease the inconvenience of passengers at the main gateway into Uganda and will initially attend to all the arriving passengers. President Museveni asked leaders to internalize the NRM strategy and understand the services that must be run by the government.
And when you look at what it will achieve is tremendous. I told you that the railway is not an area for business, for private business, because we need cheap transport. If we are going to be competitive globally, to produce goods which are cheap, we must have cheap transport. So while we welcome private sector in buses, in what, but for the railway, should be under us.
He said that the UPDF Construction Brigade should construct all the government-run facilities in order to reduce costs. Prime Minister Robin Anabanja saluted President Museveni for helping Ugandans against COVID-19, adding that the centre cost 15 billion shillings to complete and equip. She said passengers will now be paying 100,000 shillings, down from 250,000 shillings for testing. She said arrangements have been made to ensure tourists are given a dedicated service point in order to prevent delays.
With the government taking charge of this testing exercise, we expect to see a faster more convenient, more affordable process for all, because some people were really complaining. I remember you also told me the same, while protecting the country from any possible importation of the deadly COVID-19 variant into the country.
The Minister of Health, Dr. Jenruth Acheng, said the facility has got 8 PCR machines that can handle 548 samples in 2 hours, with 150 personnel from the Minister of Health and UPDF who have been deployed at the new facility.
We already have a store on site with 50,000 test kits ready for the passengers. We have a staff capacity of 150 human resources, both UPDF and Ministry of Health staff combined. Out of this, we have 70 laboratory personnel, 30 surveillance teams, 40 data, and 10 concerned with administration and management of the stores. All have been trained and all are ready.
It is now my pleasure to launch the testing by the head of staff of the government, not this private, starting from now.
Bernard Higa, UBC News.
Ugandans have been urged to embrace commercial agriculture to multiply their yields. Senior Presidential Advisor on Economic and Manifesto Implementation, Professor Ephraim Kamuntu, was tipping the media in Kampala about the benefits of Operation Wealth Creation.
Unemployment among the youth is still a barrier to economic development of the country. A senior presidential advisor on economic and manifesto implementation, Professor Ephraim Kamuntu, wants the general public to resort to commercialized agriculture for economic development.
This policy development model is intended to achieve several things. One, it is intended to reach the remaining 39% of Uganda's households still in subsistence economy and lift them out. Very key. The parish development model is a development approach intended to act as a vehicle. So if you want to ask, you ask yourself, this 39% Uganda's households still in subsistence, how can you reach them?
Professor Kamuntu says unemployment among the youth is the major cause of uncertainty in the country.
We must address this challenge head on. Lack of gainful employment, especially for young people, we must address it. It is being addressed, and fundamentally because skilling Ugandans addresses this challenge. And also the poor guys need to appreciate the rich, because you'll never help the poor by killing the rich. The poor also need to know how the rich became rich.
The General Secretary, Uganda Cooperative Alliance, Asimwe Ivan, appealed to the farmers across the country to join cooperative societies to increase their incomes.
I want to call upon all Ugandans. We are all, majority of us are farmers. Let's embrace the cooperative model because it is the way to go. If you are to succeed, then you need to succeed. There is a saying that if you want to move very fast, walk alone. But if you want to move very far, walk as a team. So the cooperatives are supporting farmers to access better and quality agricultural inputs for increased production and productivity. They are also helping farmers to collectively aggregate their produce. Because some of these cooperatives, in fact the majority of them, the unions and the area cooperative enterprises currently have storage facilities.
Stephen Kayumba for UBC News.
The State Minister for Public Service, Grace Mary Mugasa, has appreciated the role played by the Parliamentary Committee on Public Service and Local Government in ensuring quality service provision to Ugandans. This was during a two-day induction aimed at equipping new committee members with knowledge about the ministry to enable them offer satisfactory service to citizens at the closure of the symposium.
They are about to box each other.
We have also agreed that Ministry of Public Service is going to bring proposals to Cabinet by writing Cabinet papers so that we can improve on what has been released. Therefore, members, I would like to invite you to support the service delivery policy. We should avoid corruption as much as we can. Because if you are corrupt and we come near you, you have to explain why you are corrupt, why you are selfish, and in fact you might end up even in jail because you are the one who is bringing a bad image our government, to our ruling party, to our president, and therefore we become very unpopular because of you. And you join the rest also to make alarms that you have seen when you are the actor. Kindly, I beg you to work with government so that we can improve this service delivery for our people.
Is that we are now going to be able to move motions in Parliament for the welfare of the public servants and also people working in local government. But also we have got an understanding of where are the gaps, what policies can government come up with, and how can Parliament contribute to some bills that may be needed to ensure that the welfare of public servants is promoted.
Workers are paying pay as you earn, they are doing everything, but you want to establish an insurance that only people working and earning salary will contribute, yet forgetting that even some of these workers are entitled some medical care from workplaces. So I was imagining, can't even somebody suggest that every Uganda can pay 10,000, every Ugandan can pay 10,000. I was even imagining, can't they say at least for every pay as you earn a member, a worker pays, the money should be cut from there and put into the insurance. But all those were suggestions from the land friends, the educated people like us.
UBC News Tonight takes a very short break, but we still have more stories. Keep it locked.
Hello, it's me again, Jenny Fulwa Shares. In my other video, I showed you how to open an SCD account using MTN Momo. Now let me tell you about the MTN Shares offer. You can apply for MTN Uganda shares for as low as 100,000 shillings. And the offer even gets better when you apply using MTN Momo. Because for every 100 shares you apply for, you get 10 extra shares. Enyongeza for free. Yes, it's true. There's no limit to the number of shares you can apply for. No. So are you ready to apply for some MTN shares? It's very easy. Just get your MTN phone and follow these very simple steps. First, dial *165*65# or use my MTN app. Then select 2 to apply for MTN shares. Select 1 to apply for MTN shares for self. Your SCD account and broker details will be instantly shown to you. Please reply with option 1 to confirm. Select the option of the number of shares you want to apply for, then enter your PIN to authorize. Finally, please select option 1 to confirm that you have read the prospectus and accept the terms and conditions. You will now receive an SMS confirming your application. That's it. You will now have to wait a bit for the approval of your transaction. The shares allocated to you will be confirmed after the offer period closes by the end of November. Oh wait, before I go, let me remind you about the terms and conditions. Please read them and the prospectus before you apply. And if you need any further assistance, go to any MTN service center, a Stanbic Bank branch near you, or a licensed stockbroker.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
vaccinated today so we can get closer to the normal way of life. Echa COVID-19 chija kugwa.
You know, you could just buy a new smartphone from anywhere in Uganda. Dial *175 *94# to activate their 100% double data bonus offer on weekly or monthly bundles for 3 months. Better yet, you automatically receive free 1 GB valid for 30 days. You are hooked already, aren't you? Enjoy 100% double data bonus from Airtel. Buy a smartphone from anywhere in Uganda and insert an Airtel SIM card. Dial *175 *94# to activate a 100% data bonus offer on weekly or monthly bundles, valid for 3 months. Dial *175# and select your preferred bundle to activate a 100% data bonus offer on weekly or monthly bundles, valid for 3 months. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Getting GoTV was the best decision James has ever made. Finding a good place to watch football was never easy, but it was costly until James discovered something big. Now he can finally enjoy the benefits of homegrown advantage with a decoder and 1 month of GoTV value. For just 25,000 shillings, enjoy the world's biggest leagues and cap competitions. GoTV Uganda, love it.
Parents and guardians, this month of October, take all your children aged 15 years and below to the nearest health facility or outreach post for integrated child health days to receive a wide range of free services. The services will include immunization to protect them against killer yet vaccine-preventable diseases like measles, rubella, polio, diphtheria, whooping cough, pneumonia, meningitis, diarrhea, tetanus, hepatitis B, tuberculosis, and cancer of the cervix. Your child will also receive vitamin A and deworming tablets. Girls aged 10 years old and those who missed their second HPV vaccine dose will receive HPV vaccine to protect them against cancer of the cervix. Girls and women aged 15 to 49 years will also be immunized against tetanus and diphtheria. Due to polio outbreak in the region, every child under 5 years should be fully immunized as per the routine immunization schedule. Vaccines used for immunization are safe, effective, and free and have been approved by the Ministry of Health and World Health Organization. Remember to follow all the COVID-19 prevention measures, including wearing a mask when in public, hand washing with water and soap, and keeping a distance of at least 2 meters from another person. Integrated Child Health Days, a healthy child, a happy family. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health with support from UNICEF, World Health Organization, Earth, and partners.
All right, welcome back from that break, and now we take a look at what's happening in the business scene. The East African Council Private Sector Foundation Uganda, in partnership with Afrexim Bank, has come up with a platform aimed at ensuring due diligence among small-scale business enterprises across Africa and beyond, codenamed Mansa. The platform is expected to give small-scale businesses relief against challenges of failing to access finance from abroad and do sustainable business with foreign counterparts.
The East African Business Council and Private Sector Foundation Uganda, in partnership with Afrexim Bank, have launched the Mansa Due Diligence digital platform that will insulate small-scale business enterprises against unrealistic costs when they subscribe and trade across Africa and beyond.
For example, we come to you and say maybe Tom and Sons, that we would like to have you on the platform, to access, these opportunities. Once you give us the information, so we work through this model where we have partnerships like EABC. So when you get that information and give it to EABC, to put it onto the platform, what happens is EABC will look at the information and verify that actually this business is registered, that this is actually correct, what you're giving is correct. Once that happens, the information is now put into the system. but it will not be published there and then. What happens is, from UBC, that information will go to Afrexim Bank.
Mansa is a repository platform which provides a single source of primary data required for the conduct of customer due diligence on African entities.
Share with us what you are doing for the manufacturing sector. Share with us with what you are doing for those in the service sector. Share with us with what you are doing for those in the transportation and logistics, especially things that have to do with trade. We want to unblock borders and the challenges that people are facing.
At the launch in Kampala, the Executive Director, East Africa Business Council, John Bosco Kalisa, said the platform is to enhance the level of preparedness for business in Africa.
On how to onboard that information. So the language issues, this issue, I would say it has been resolved. And my colleague Patrick will share with you what we have done in Burundi, what we are doing in Rwanda, what we have done here in terms of translating the information into local language. And I want to thank the Mansa lead here. They have provided the resources like language issues.
The future for sustainable growth and development in Africa depends on increasing levels of intra-Africa trade and investment within the region.
And with this Mansa initiative, it will facilitate the trade amongst ourselves. It will create visibility for our different entities, irrespective of what sector of the economy you are. Whether you are in the private sector, we are in the public sector, whether you're a financial institution, whether you're exporter, importer, whether you are.
The platform also provides complementary collection of information on investment in Africa.
Grow together with one of Uganda's largest companies. Apply for MTN shares for as low as 100,000 Uganda shillings. And when you apply using MTN Mobile Money, you get 10 free extra shares for every 100 shares you apply for. Dial *165*65# or use the MyMTN app to apply now. The terms and conditions of the offer and other important information are set out in the prospectus. For assistance, visit any MTN service center or Stanbic Bank branch countrywide or a licensed broker.
Getting GoTV was the best decision James has ever made. Finding a good place to watch football was never easy, but it was costly until James discovered something big. Now he can finally enjoy the benefits of homegrown advantage with a decoder and 1 month of GoTV value. For just 25,000 shillings, enjoy the world's biggest leagues and cap competitions. GoTV Uganda, love it.
Uganda, today is a great day to work towards your dreams. Dial *185*7# and select savings to save as low as 500 Ugandan shillings on regular savings or 250,000 Ugandan shillings for fixed deposits. Airtel Money Super Saver is powered by KCB Bank Uganda. Airtel Money, instant, secure, borderless. T's and C's apply.
Welcome back. Now into the world of sports. The 2021 Kabalega Rally has climaxed with Rajiv Ruparelia upsetting the odds to the top podium position. Now the rally was flagged off by the Bunyoro Kitara Kingdom Prime Minister Andrew Byakutaga. Take a look.
Saturday morning found many Ugandans at Nika Resort Hotel in Hoima. These were there purposely for the Kabalega Rally that was flagged off by Bunyoro Kitara Prime Minister Andrew Byakutaga.
I have received the requests from the various districts of Bunyoro requesting that this event should be also held in the other parts of the kingdom, so that the money which comes in as a result of this activity can be very well distributed within the kingdom.
When the action rolled off, the crowds enjoyed thrills of the drivers, many of whom were daring. At the end of several grueling kilometers, Rajiv Ruparelia drove home victorious and was followed by Duncan Mubiru and Ronald Sebuguzi. Omar Mayanja finished fourth, while Hassan Alwi and Fred Busulu followed in close pursuit. This Kabalega rally was much anticipated because of the competition at the top in search of the National Rally Championship crown. But though the event was momentous, the search for the National Rally Championship title is still on and will be decided in Jinja next month. All eyes then, like has been today, will be on the current leader Duncan Mubiru and his close pursuer Hassan Alwi. John Barnes, Sentamu, reporting.
Well, thank you so much for your company. But before we sign out, let's first take another look at tonight's headlines.
Brought to you by
How to get points. Just use MTN to make calls, send SMS, load airtime, buy bundles, or pay for MTN subscription services.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
And in tonight's headlines, President Museveni commissions airport health facility. President Museveni flags off 282 vehicles for the COVID-19 campaign. Former presidential secretary buried at Rugarama Hill, Kabale municipality. And in sports, Rajiv Ruparelia wins as NRC title chase goes to decider in Jinja next month.
Was brought to you by
Everywhere you go, MTN.
Join us at 10 o'clock for UBC News Tonight. I'm Lorene Masika Kazimoto and Mohammed Mugalu on Sign Language. We will see you then.
The greatest comfort following the demise of Lieutenant General Paul Lokech was the expression of sympathy and love conveyed to us, his bereaved family, in many ways. We deeply appreciate your thoughtfulness and thank you most sincerely. Greatest thanks to the Church of Uganda, His Excellency the President of the Republic of Uganda, dignitaries from the Republics of Somalia and South Sudan, the Parliament of Uganda, the Judiciary of Uganda, the Acholi Parliamentary Caucus, all ministries and government departments, the Uganda People's Defense Forces, the Uganda Police, religious and cultural leaders, the international community and Ugandans in the diaspora, the people of Acholi and Uganda, friends and family. May his soul rest in peace.